Awesome. We are so excited to welcome Jana here tonight to talk to us about swim safety and ISR. Originally from Belgium, Jana has lived in Heber City since 2017 and welcomed her first daughter, Willa, in 2021. While visiting her parents in France who have a pool, it was then that Jana's awareness and desire for children's safety took precedence. Jana has a master's degree in physical education and kinesiology, and with this background, plus a combination of love for education and safety, Jana decided to become a certified ISR instructor. Jana's training through ISR is a rigorous 8-week intensive training, which includes a minimum of 80 hours of supervised in-water training. The academic part of this training course includes subjects like child psychology, physiology, and behavioral science. Annually, Jana participates in a highly specialized recertification to maintain the highest level of safety and caliber of instruction. We are so excited to have you tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and share your presentation.
Thank you, Kayla.
All right.
And sorry, everybody, for the delay, the technical difficulties. Technology. Okay. Kayla, am I good? Or
Yes. Can you see the presentation?
I see it. I hope everybody else can see it.
If anyone has a question or struggling, please write in the chat. And Jana, if you just tell me, I'll just click for you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll let you know, Kayla. Thank you. So yeah, welcome everybody, and thank you for signing in and wanting to take some time away from your kids or families or whoever you have at home. So yeah, I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit first, and then we'll cover the following topics. So we're going to talk a little bit about the need for water safety, the statistics, and then what drowning actually looks like, what we can do to prevent drowning. Oh, there we go. Also a little bit about bathtub, pool, drain, and hot tub safety, the risk of flotation devices, and then obviously a little bit about the ISR survival swim lessons that I am teaching in Heber and Park City. So yeah, let's talk about a little bit about myself so you have a better idea of who I am. So as Kayla already mentioned, I'm originally from Belgium. I grew up there and speaking Dutch. So if you hear an accent, that's where that comes from. And then I have lived here in Utah for the past, I think, 8 years, maybe 9, probably not 8. For the past 6 years, I've been a high school teacher here in Heber. I was a French teacher, and I just quit that last year in August, so I could start my own business as a certified ISR instructor. The reason why I wanted to quit and start my own business in swimming lessons was because I was actually looking for our daughter, Willa, who is now 2.5, to get her into swim lessons, but I couldn't find the program that I really was looking for, and we had to drive at least an hour. And so yeah, for ISR lessons to be 10 minutes per day in the water, I was definitely not going to drive 1 hour one way. So I really saw the demand for swimming lessons here in the Valley and decided to start it up myself. So I am married, you see it on the picture, to Clint, and that's our daughter Willa. She's 2.5, and yeah, hobbies, just skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, art, and travel and food. And so yeah, that's a little bit it. Oh yeah, and really, if anybody has questions at any time, just let us know. You can probably write something in the chat box or just unmute yourself, I assume. Thank you. Okay. So the need for water safety, why would we need need to be careful with children around water, right? The drowning is the #1 cause of accidental death for children between 1 and 4 years old. That is crazy. Why is it not 0 through 4 years old? Because children start to become really mobile, around 1. So that's why it's between 1 and 4. And then the goal is to bring awareness and knowledge to our communities. And I'm hoping to be able to educate our communities in Wasatch and Summit Counties on what we can do to avoid drownings to happen, right? The world is 70% exists of 75% of water. So, and all our kids are 100% curious. So that's dangerous. Okay, Kayla, thank you. And as this saying, I just saw that on Instagram today, but I thought, yes, that is really it. A toddler can do more in 1 unsupervised minute than most people can do all day. That is so true. Even if we are watching our toddler in a pool with 5 people and we're seeing all 5 adults that were watching the kid, one of like we can just lose them out of sight so easily and they can be gone so fast. So it's very dangerous. And then let's talk a little bit about the statistics. So just so we have a few numbers to look at. So as we already said, more children ages 1 through 4 die from drowning than any other cause of death. Between the ages of 5 and 14 years, drowning is the second leading cause of unintentional injury death after motor vehicle crashes. And then every year, so I got all these numbers from the CDC. So I'm just, reading them off because it's just to give everybody a better idea. But every year in the US, estimated of 4,000 fatal unintentional drownings. That's an average of 11 drownings a day. That's per day. That's a lot, right? And then 8,000 non-fatal drownings. And that's an average of 22 non-fatal drownings per day. So those numbers are pretty high. So just letting everybody know that we definitely need to do something. And through ISR, we are trying to, give those swimming lessons and prevent drownings from happening. Okay, next one. Of all preschoolers who drown, 70% are in the care of one or both parents at the time of the drowning. So we are there when it happens. That is crazy to me. And 75% are missing from sight for 5 minutes or less. Drownings can occur in less than 2 inches of water, so we don't have to have a pool, like a very deep pool available where drownings can happen. It just 2 inches is enough. Boys are 80% more likely to drown than females. And kids with autism are 160 times more likely to have a drowning accident than typically developing children. So some crazy numbers here. But then looking at Utah specifically, we can see that we are in the color blue. So that's, I think I was reading the number is 1.33. So yeah, we are not one of the lowest ones, although, some people think, oh, we don't have that much water around, but it can really happen to anywhere, to anyone, sadly enough. And yeah, you don't have to, it doesn't always happen in open water or pools or anything. It just bathtubs, rivers, streams, that's enough. 29% of Utah drowning deaths are children aged 0 through 18. 31 of the Utahns die from drownings each year, and 68% of Utah drowning victims are male. That's what we already, talked about. But then if we look at the kids, 52% of the children who drown were toddlers between 1 and 4. 70% of the drownings happen among children happen in late spring and summer months, so May through August. So we're getting to that time where we're all gonna get outside and water becomes even more interesting and dangerous. And then the most common location where Utah children drown is 34% in open waters, 28% in swimming pools, 21 bathtubs, that happens a lot, and then 17%, other or unknown locations. So again, drowning is the #1 cause of accidental death in children 1 through 4 years old. 69% of the deaths of children under 5 happen when they're not expected to swim. So it happens often during non-swim times when people, think maybe have like a pond in their yard or maybe a pool or something, and the kids get outside and they're not expected to be swimming, but that's when it happens. And then more than 80% of the drownings happen when children are fully clothed. So that's also another reason why in our ISR lessons, we give the children the chance to, or an opportunity to swim with their clothes on and show us that they can save their own life in the water if they're fully clothed. So again, bathtubs, toilets, buckets, ponds, pools, oceans, streams, rivers, and lakes are all drowning risks, sadly enough. And then what does drowning looks like? So if you look at that picture, that is the position that is called the drowning position. That is the exact position that you can find children in when they wear those puddle jumpers. I don't know if everybody understands what a puddle jumper is. It's the one that goes around the chest and then has the one around the arms as well. So those keep the kids in a vertical position, which we call the drowning position, which you can see on this image here. For kids, it can happen in less than or 20 seconds or less. Adults, 40 seconds or less. It happens really fast. It doesn't necessarily always look like a struggle to anyone, because often they don't even have the time to scream or anything. And so it is silent. So that's really dangerous. And it looks like they start climbing a ladder, as you can see, because those arms and those legs, they will start just like paddling and they can't keep up. They get tired and they just drown. And then a lot of you probably have the question, is there such a thing as dry drowning? So we probably all have seen posts on social media where the kids seem fine after they got out of the pool or any body of water. But then suddenly later on, they start having breathing difficulties and die. I've seen it. As parents, you're very worried about all these things. And dry drowning, is that actually a thing? So I wanted to just touch that quick and just read what I, found just to explain it clearly to all of you. It is very terrifying, but a sudden dry drowning without prior symptoms does not occur. So as you can read on the left side, I'm just going to read it so everybody is, we're just all on the same page. In fact, most medical authorities, including such organizations as the American Red Cross, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American College of Emergency Physicians discourage the use of the terms dry drowning. If a child seems completely normal after leaving the water and has no symptoms at all, that child did not drown. But that is not to suggest that problems can't arise after a child has left the water. They can, but they just don't come out of nowhere. So in the next slide, I will touch on this again, but it's just to let you know that as a parent or caretaker, you should keep always an eye on what's happening in the water. If the kid has been coughing and has had quite some time of like trying to get over that cough in the water, and then he's fine, and then he gets out of the water, and 2 or 3 hours later, he suddenly has breathing difficulties and other symptoms, which I will talk about on this slide, then you probably should take him into ER or any doctor. But the ones that we are concerned about is, or when you should see a doctor. So fatigue, often after swimming, kids are very tired. We all know that. So that's not necessarily a very clear symptom. Vomit, kids might vomit if they swallow some water, but it's not always a sign of drowning. I had, just to give you an example, I had last week, Friday, actually my backyard neighbor, he had been swimming in or playing around in the water in the pool before his lesson for an hour with his nephew. And they had been chasing each other. And then he started his 10-minute lesson with me, and I already felt that his belly was kind of hard. So I tried to burp him, and I told his mom, his belly seems a little harder. So I'm just going to take it slow. And when I stopped the lesson, I laid him down on his left side, which we always do for the kids to just, recover after lessons. And he suddenly throws up. So that was just he's already skilled, but it was just a sign for me. He had been playing for an hour before lessons, so it's not necessarily a sign of drowning. And we knew what had caused it in this case, so we were totally fine. But just to give you an idea that if they vomit, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take them in. Just keep a clear eye on them and see if it keeps happening. If it keeps happening, then maybe there might be something wrong. When they cough, so kids who have water go down the wrong pipe will cough and have some shortness of breath. If this resolves within a few minutes, the risk is near zero. But if any symptoms of coughing that are present immediately after or a couple hours after drowning event should probably be evaluated by a doctor. And then especially one of the symptoms that you really have to take them in for is the fast breathing. So when they have gone underwater and they develop a fast breathing, then you immediately have to take them in. Yeah. But then how can we prevent all of this from happening? Did somebody say anything?
Sorry, that was my water bottle.
Okay, so some layers of protection that we can provide to avoid any drownings from happening. The first and most effective one is obviously supervision. It's the most critical line of defense. And we talk about designating a water guardian. So it's basically saying if, let's say, there's 5 adults around the pool and we're hanging out around the water with the kids, they have little cards that we also give away. You can print them online as well. And it's like a, kind of like a lanyard that you hang around your neck, and it says water guardian, just to mention that, or tell all the other adults who is actively watching the kids. Because you can all five say that you're watching the kids, but just talking, checking your phones, it happens so fast, and it's so easily, you're getting distracted so easily that, with that water guardian, there is that one person who is not, like, that person is just designated to watch the kids, and do that for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you change. Another layer of protection is obviously providing a four-sided fence around the pool and door and pool alarms. But still, kids can climb over them, or the gates open without, maybe they're not working perfectly. So that can all happen. So that's the second one. And then if those two first ones have failed, then there's a third line of defense that you can provide, which is providing your child with the ability of being an aquatic problem solver. So that's, for example, by giving them the skill of ISR swim lessons, survival swim lessons, so they know what to do if they were to fall in the water. Some others are using an UCGA approved life jacket on open water, because it is obligated. You have to. Also educate the people around you, friends and family, about drowning. And then to not rely on flotation devices during swim time, because as I already mentioned, but I'll talk about it in a few other slides too, flotation devices, put the kids in a vertical position, which is the drowning position. And so kids don't always realize when they go to any body of water that they are not wearing those flotation devices. So they just think, oh, I can go in the water no matter if I have it on or not. I will be able to do it. I will be able to swim. And then when they find themselves in the water, they drown. And then an important one too, don't store any toys in the pool. Some people just leave it in the water, but that's another attraction, for the kids. Oh, that ball is floating on the water in the middle of the pool. I want to go get it. And so they try and reach, and they fall in, and that's when it happens. So just a little bit to talk again about that some of those next slides have a lot of information on them, but I thought maybe I'll not touch on or read it all, but then if you want to look at it again later, you have the information. So again, supervision, first and most critical line of defense. Make sure that if you're an adult and are watching the kids, don't answer the phone, don't read, don't talk to other adults. You can talk, but it's just another way of distraction. As I already told everybody, designate one parent as the water watcher. And then most drownings happen during non-swim time. So make sure that when a child is missing, that you first check the water. Other rooms or the house, can be checked later on. But if a kid fell in the water, that is, you don't have time, there's no time to lose. So go check the water first. And then make sure, maybe if you have a nanny or family, friends, make sure that as many people that take care of your children know CPR. You can do that through Red Cross or American Medical Response, and get trained. In case if it happens, you know what to do. Talking a little bit about bathtub safety. I think I remember, was it 21% of the kids drown in bathtubs? That's quite a bit. So make sure that you never leave your child alone in the bathtub, not even with older children. I know of a family who designated an, I think, 7-year-old to watch a 5-year-old in the bathtub, and the 7-year-old left to go grab something, and in the meantime, something happened to the 5-year-old in the water, and he, or I don't know if it was a girl or a boy, but drowned. And so that's terrible, right? You don't want that to happen. Just adults. Don't answer any phones. Yeah, if you need to leave the bathroom, make sure you just take the child with you. Watch your child from the moment they get in the tub until they get out and are dry. Make sure that you let the water out while maybe the kid is in the water, or while you're drying him or her off, but make sure that the water's all gone. So if there's a moment that you're leaving, there's no water anymore. Check the water first, always. Also check the temperature. Even when you're in a hotel or visiting family and giving your child a bath in a different tub, make sure you know how temperatures might differ in different houses. So make sure that you have a thermometer maybe with you when you travel, and because bathtub water can cause scalding burns. Sorry, these are the slides that have a lot of information, so I'm just going to go over them. Some are pretty obvious, but important. Electrical appliances, make sure your tub is clear from electrical appliances. Very important. Unplug items that are not in use. If you use the big bathtub, make sure that you place no slip strips on the bottom of the tub. So if they stand up, there's less chance of slipping and then get hurt. Or there's also, they sell those mats that you can put in the bottom of the bathtub, which helps a lot too. Phone, take it with you into the bathroom, but only use it for emergency calls during bath time, but don't be on your phone. Bath toys, do not allow any small tub toys or parts of toys that could be swallowed. And then baby seats, they're not a substitute for supervision, so don't think that that's it. Once they're in there, that they're safe. It's a bathing aid, and it's not a safety device. Pool safety. So I already told everybody the fencing, 4-sided fence around the pool with a self-locking gate. If you have a pool and a gate around it, make sure that you often do the shake test. Sometimes, they don't work anymore, and then they just click open if you kind of shake them. So make sure that that works. Do not allow your children to play in and or climb on the fence, obviously, and remove any furniture because they can, use it to climb over the fence. They are smart. Pool water. Make sure that the jets and the in-floor jets are more into the shallow end of the pool, and keep the water level of the pool at the uppermost point. That's important. Waterfalls in pool areas create a noise level, but that might compete with a cry for help. So we always think also in ISR lessons that crying babies, it's not good, but I always say better a crying baby than a quiet baby, because when they're crying, you will find them faster. Obviously, again, your phone, never answer during supervision. Yeah, carry a cell phone in case you have to call 911 or have any other emergency. Those are all pretty obvious. Toys should be stored in an area that is isolated from the pool deck. Again, not in the pool, because that can be a distraction for the kids to try and reach for them and then fall into the water. Keep your pool deck clean and clear and remove all toys from the pool. Alarms, make sure that all the doors are leading to the pool are locked and alarmed. Alarms should indicate that someone is in the pool area or has opened or closed a door or a gate. And then try to educate others. So again, if you have other caretakers, so friends or family that are watching your children, make sure that they understand the importance of keeping gates and doors closed, including toilet seats, emptying buckets, because not everybody understands. If if it's been a long time that they've had kids around, or they've maybe never had kids, they might not understand it. And those facts are, maybe obvious for us, but it doesn't mean that they are very clear to other people. So make sure you go over the importance. Drain entrapments are a serious danger because they create suction. And so there's multiple cases already where kids have been stuck in drain entrapments or been sucked down, even adults, in like pool entrapments that have a lot of suction, which is crazy. But yeah, those are a serious danger. So do not play or swim near drains or suction outlets, especially in spas or shallow pools. Never enter a pool that has a loose, broken, or missing drain cover. And if you see one, make sure that you notify anyone who's in charge of the place. And then, yeah, just make sure that you have flat drain grates and single main drain systems. So they, wait, what did I say? That they pose the greatest risk for entrapment. So be on the watch out for that.
Jana, I just want to point out we have just over 15 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you just let me know.
Then I'm probably going to just go quicker over these next ones. Hot tub safety, again, make sure water temperature, limit playtime because the temperature of a hot tub is usually higher. So make sure that you keep them just in the water less than 10 minutes. And then when you're not using the hot tubs, that you cover and lock the hot tub so the kids cannot get in there. I remember drowning is a silent epidemic. A child can slip easily into a pool or spa without any sound or splash. So this is all very dangerous, right? Because we might not notice it. When you go shop or pick your children's swimsuits, make sure that you shop bright colors. As you can see on the left picture, choose the really bright ones, avoid like the lighter color ones. And because on the right side, it shows you what that looks like. So the very right side on that right image shows you the moving water. So if water is moving, kids playing, for example, that's what that girl looks like. You barely can see her if she were to, lay on the bottom of the floor. So yeah, choose bright colors. Super important. Again, this gives you just a overview of what colors are good. But yeah, the ones that are very bright are the best ones to go. I think Target has some good ones. Risk of flotation devices. Again, the ones that are not recommended have a cross over them because they put the kid in that vertical posture, as you can see. The ones at the bottom, the purple and the watermelon one, are the ones to go to if you want to have kids play on a flotation device. The purple one has the mesh, so it just, sorry, Kayla, has, so it just, the kids can sit on it, but they're not allowed to be in that vertical posture in the water. So yeah, choose for those options. This is a text that I got over the weekend. Some of you, I shared it with you on my social media as well. Take some time to read it when Kayla posts. I don't know if you will be posting this presentation, but read through it. It's crazy. It's a friend of mine who texted me what happened to her brother's kids this weekend, and just to let you know, drowning knows no season. It can happen, sadly enough, to anyone, anytime. ISR swim lessons. So this is what your student will or can learn. Students between 6 and 12 months will be able to roll on their back and stay afloat until help comes. And then children usually between 1 and 6 years old will learn the swim-float-swim sequence. So they can swim a little bit, roll on their back, stay afloat, rest and breathe, flip over, swim again until they can get themselves to the side of the pool. Important for you as parents, if you are looking at a swim program or instructor, look for a program that teaches your child what to do if they reach the water alone. A program important that focuses on safety and not just water and fun. Because I think it's personally more important to teach them first that it's dangerous and then they can have fun. Before they just, think it's fun and they get too confident. The instructor should be able to present you a proof of self-rescue certification and provide you with educational resources. Lessons should be individualized, one-on-one, allow children to safely practice skills while fully clothed. They do not use flotation devices as an instructional aid, and they emphasize safe and developmental appropriate delivery of skills. And also important, there is a result in weeks and not years. Some good questions to ask your swim instructor if you look at a different program would be, will the lessons teach my child to be independent and get to the surface independently for air? And will they make progress in weeks or would it be years? Some details, ISR lessons are frequent. They're short lessons, 10 minutes long, use a lot of safety protocols. We do VC checks, which is just we push the skin usually around the foot or on the back to see how fast the color of the skin comes back, to see how fatigued they are. We ask a lot of questions before each lesson just to make sure we don't miss anything. Kids are usually skilled between 6 to 8 weeks, and lessons are offered in Park City and Heber. Here's a few videos. You'll have a lot of time, hopefully, to watch those maybe later. Just to give you an idea, you can go to the next slide. You can play them, but we don't necessarily have to watch. So this is like a swimmer. He rolls on his back, stays afloat, can flip over again, and can get himself to the side of the pool. This is our little, was she 8 or 9 months old? So good. So she learned to, if she were to fall in the water face down, to roll on her back and stay afloat until help comes. Another swimmer. Yeah, just Great.
These kids are so cute.
Most of them are happy. Not all of them are happy, but that's okay. Some of them, that's their only way of communicating. So the babies especially, it might just be because they're hungry or something. So this is daughter. I taught our own daughter when she was 2 back in September. It was pretty amazing to see. But yeah, please take some time to watch the videos. They're pretty amazing to see. And we just don't think that kids are capable of doing this, especially the babies, but they are so capable. And if we can give them the skill to survive and save their own life, I believe we should all give them that skill.
Why don't I go back? I think we have some time to watch.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, he's fully clothed.
Yeah, I didn't have a video of him swimming, but yeah. Go to the
Oh no, these are just photos, these ones.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go.
The last one, if you are Willa, if you go to, I think the last slide with the videos,
Okay, let's see.
it's our daughter. Yeah, that one. So here you can see she will fall in the water. She has her winter clothes on the right side, and she will lose her boot. There goes her boot.
Good breath. Take some good breaths.
And then she will try and get it because she's distracted and she wants to save her boot. But it's okay. She decided that that's not the most important. She decided that breathing is more important. And then there you go.
Good job. Good job.
I have a question, Jana. Is there a certain amount of time that the child is taught to be on their back for?
So we teach them we count. So usually, with the kids, it's sometimes let's count 3 or 4 dinosaurs. But it's really the breathe on their back, they can stay there as long as they want to, because it's where they can breathe, right? That's like super, it's nice. They can rest and they can breathe as long as they want to. But usually we teach them in lessons to stay there for like 3 to 4, whatever you count, dinosaurs. We tell parents to do swimming and resting like 3 to 4 Mississippis. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then 3, 4 Mississippis, and then move on to the like flip over or go roll on their back.
And then another question for you. Is there any child, like personality wise, that you think this isn't a good fit for, or even waiting till later? Like I think about my own son who is he's pretty trepidatious and like a very, very sensitive, very sensitive kid. New experiences can be hard for him. So in my mind, I'm almost scared that something like this would have the opposite effect of making him just so scared of the water.
So
Something you've seen before?
good question. So I've had an autistic child in my lessons, and it just might take longer. But we, through ISR, that's why our lessons are individualized, and it's so nice because we don't need to say, oh, by the end of this week, you have to be able to do this. Like we can adapt it to the child. And what I've seen, often the kids that really love the water before they come to lessons, they don't necessarily like it as much because they suddenly have to start listening and doing what we're asking them to do. The kids that are kind of like, oh, they're not sure about water, if they really like it or not. they end up loving it because we create that relationship and trust with them. And just they end up loving coming and see me and swimming, and just they trust the whole process because I'm in there in the water. And like that's how ISR lessons, we just build on that trust and go from there. So yeah, they, some of the more sensitive and shy kids and like the new experiences, they don't like it as much. They end up thriving in this situation because toddlers just love consistency, the routine of consistency every day, short periods of time. That's why it's so successful and efficient.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Of course.
Let me go ahead and stop my share just so I can see. We can see if anyone else pops up or
Yeah.
anyone on the chat, if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, unmute yourselves. And it's so quiet. It's hard to present without anybody saying anything.
A few people wrote in the chat, so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Jana. Does anyone else have any questions about safety in general, or maybe your program? Oh, hi, Morgan.
Hey there, hi Jana. I'm just curious about flotation devices and if you can explain a little bit more of your perspective there. I feel like so often society or family are passing judgment and or like really wanting to see all of the youngest kids in life preservers, even with the ability to swim. And I'm willing to stand clear in my decisions and parent in the way that I feel is best for water safety. But just curious what your perspective is when it comes to those devices, if you can expand a little bit
So
more.
you mean you are putting your children in flotation devices and you're wanting to explain it, or sorry, I missed
Yeah,
that.
so I don't have kids yet. I'm just pregnant
Oh,
now.
okay. Yeah.
But I often see like, oh, that kid needs to be in a life jacket, or be going to a kid's like to a party and they're like, here's the jacket. And I'm like,
Well,
interesting.
yeah. So it is, yeah, it is easy. I've heard of a lot of other instructors. I haven't personally had it happen, but a lot of, when you take your kids to the pool and people are like, oh, what you're doing with those lessons, it's like traumatizing them or something. You should just put them in a life jacket or a flotation device. But it is like taking your children to a pool or any water. It is not relaxing until they know how to swim. It's just not. You have to watch your children. When I see, like, when I'm at the pool every day and parents are just sitting on the side and the kids are just running around, I don't understand that. It's crazy. But it is true. Once they've been, and I've seen many kids in lessons that have been in flotation devices, it's harder to get them to that horizontal position because they know that if they bring their head up, the body follows, and they stay, they go in that vertical position, and it's really hard to undo. And if they want to learn any strokes later on, usually kids are developmentally ready around age 5 to learn any strokes. It's just harder because they eventually have to get to that horizontal position. And yeah, parents that make comments about, yeah, just put them in the life jacket. It is easier. You can be a lazy parent that way. But also, some parents just don't know. They put the flotation device on, and until you tell them what the risks are,
You're welcome.
they don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I really appreciate
Yeah. I hope that
additional
answers.
perspective there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jana, I might have you send me the information for the 2 flotation devices that you think are good, because what scared me is seeing the ones you X'd out. I'm like, oh, I have 2 of the ones you X'd out because it was like top on Amazon, and I was like, oh, cute,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
And now I'm
sure.
like, oh God, that's scary.
yeah. Did Maggie, did you want to say something?
Oh, Maggie said, speaking
Oh,
as a parent whose daughter
sorry,
took
I was trying to figure out how to unmute it. Yeah, I was just gonna mention, so like my daughter, she was the 8-month-old that was in that video that she learned to float. And so I take her to the pool now just to practice. And I don't get any judgment whatsoever that she's not in a floaty or anything like that. Honestly, like, cause she's practicing floating, they can see that she is in control and like safe. And most of the time I have other parents asking me like, how did she learn how to do that when she's so young? Like they're just amazed. So, and then the rest of the time, you know, like when you're a boat and things like that, like obviously she's wearing a life jacket, like you have to, but
Yeah.
in the pool, like there's no judgment. It's honestly just like, whoa, I had no idea.
Melody asked, hi, Jana, I think you covered this briefly, but is there a different approach to starting with older kids? Our 4-year-old is so hesitant around water and with swimming, and I fear that she'll be terrified or traumatized.
So the only difference is from infants is that older ones will learn the swim-float-swim sequence instead of just a roll back and float. So once they're 2 years old, they learn that sequence, the swim-float-swim, and I actually, I've had in the past sessions many kids that were like the parents said, oh, they're not crazy about water and it's gonna be hard work. And I've always told the parents, well, those might be the kids that actually will thrive. And once we have that relationship and the trust built, they will thrive and they will just cry because the swim session is over. They don't want to leave. And that's every time the case. It's crazy. Just the consistency, those short increments of time and just that relationship, they just love it. And I don't know, I obviously try my best to, build on that relationship if I see their confidence is going down a little bit or they're nervous with the language that I use, because with the older kids you can, you just talk a little bit more to them. It's a lot easier. I give them some books to read at home, to be brave, what it is to be brave, float like a boat, and they just love it. I just make up stories about sleeping sharks and they just love it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome. Jana, thank you so much. I will make sure to link your website again to send out the email to everyone. But is there anything you want to plug in terms of programming that you have coming up people can sign up for?
Sure, yeah. I am starting a summer session in Heber June 24th with time slots between 7 and 9 a.m. because that's usually easier for parents that work, kids that maybe go to school or daycare. So you just get it done. And they don't eat in the morning. They just come to swim and then they can have breakfast and start their day. Usually with afternoon sessions, it's a little harder because they're already tired. And then my April session in Park City starts April 29th, and I still have a few spots open. And then I'll have a fall session as well. So yeah, reach out, text me, email me. I'll try and make it work for sure. I want to make sure that everybody in the community, all kids, get the opportunity to get the survival skills, even if it's financially not possible for your family. Just let me know. I have scholarships available too.
Thank you. That is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.